What is up, everybody? It's your boy Wets, and this is another episode of Purple Memoirs, the one and only Prince podcast, hosted and produced by real-life Chanhassen natives.
Chanhassen natives.
Chanhassen, baby, and don't you forget.
Aaron, why are we doing this podcast today? Go ahead. Why are we doing this podcast?
Oh, well, a lot of people have been asking questions. I mean...
Yeah, so our first episode was released, and, you know, we combed the internet, see what people are saying. A lot of people are asking, who are we? Who are these people that started this? What are they doing? We just thought we'd make an episode about us and why we think we are legitimate enough to be doing our show. I was born and raised in Chanhassen. We were neighbors in Chanhassen.
Yep.
You were like 12.
Yep, I moved to Minnesota when I was 12, and I'm 35 now, so I feel like I've basically grown up here. So
yeah, I mean, you're local. But we, Prince was like always our neighbor growing up. You know, It was like...
sort of a mythical icon, but we knew he was real at the same time.
Definitely mythical. Like I remember the first time hearing about him. He was on that Disney Channel show, The Muppets.
Oh, The Muppets. Jim Henson, right?
Yeah, he was doing I remember my dad was like, we were watching TV and he's like, "Oh, that's our neighbor," and I was like, "What do you mean that's our?" And our neighborhood had like 50 houses in it, so I thought he meant like within our neighborhood. And then like once I got older and I learned, I was like, "Oh, it's like he lives within Chanhassen."
Yeah,
you know, he's like our neighbor. But yeah, I mean, for the longest time, like you'd hear stories about him, and you never know how big he was at the time.
I mean, we were little too. We were young, and we just knew it was the guy who dressed in purple that sang hi and played guitar.
When did you first hear about Prince?
Oh man, probably a little bit after I moved to Minnesota. I went to...
No, even before that. That was in your skate video in Ohio, remember?
Yes. So this goes back to that. I lived in Minnesota for a couple months, and I went back to visit my good childhood friend Augie in Ohio, and we were skateboarding. We made a little skate video, and for my part, for some reason, we found out or heard that Prince was from Minnesota, so he's played Purple Rain on there, and it actually my love for him has been since, like 2002, 2003. Went back to Minnesota, started loving him even more, and realized that Paisley Park was like a mile from my house, and the rest is history, you know?
Yeah. Paisley, it was cool driving by Paisley Park.
Yeah, the White Castle. It looks so 80s and just like fortress-like.
Well, I mean, even then it felt like futuristic. It still kind of looks futuristic.
It's still, it's got this like Miami Vice futuristic thing about it. I can't really...
The 80s, 90s, like sophistication, money.
Yeah, like there's a sunset behind it at all times kind of look.
Now that you say that, it does always feel like that. I drove by it today. My son goes to a music class like right next to it, and I'm always just like, there it is, and like, you're driving, it's on the highway now. It's like, Prince Rogers Nelson Memorial Highway. That was
done like a year or two ago. I feel like was when they actually changed that.
Yeah,
so that's pretty fresh, but that's awesome.
Yeah, but it was like, we said before, it was like Willy Wonka's factory.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In our own backyard, which it was. When I was in high school, I wanted to like work in film and television. My dad was like, "Why don't you go drop your resume off at Paisley Park?" And for like 2 months straight, I printed it off, my resume at school, went into the front doors, didn't make it past the front doors really, handed it off. I go, "Hey, my name's Tony. I want to work here. This is my resume. I'll work for free. I'll empty the trash. Whatever you want.
Just let me in."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, never got a call back or anything, which I kind of understand. The industry's hard. It's probably hard to like get your foot in the door, literally. Once they opened it up for tours, I mean, it was like kind of special.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It was like the open house for Chanhassen neighbors.
It was like a
hey,
weird...
come on in, but I mean, you had to pay. But.
It's like a weird homecoming in some weird way. It was like you can finally open that treasure chest that you've been looking at every day.
Exactly, yeah.
And it sure as hell didn't let me down any. To let you down any, that place is crazy. Like, yeah, it's insane.
I mean, even going there now for like if someone's in town, I've mentioned we could go there for a tour, but like they do the album listening parties.
Yeah.
It's still magical. I mean, I've been in 4 or 5 times, and how many times you've been, but it's still really cool.
Every time it's like you notice something different, but it's just, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's like a real place, or it's hard to believe someone actually lived there, created that place. It seems like it was just built to show off, but no, it was like a workhouse.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, it's a cool spot. He overall he was a great neighbor.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
We've heard stories already from people that are on the show and from other people around town of like, he'd donate money to like the library and
schools. He loved charities and
that one high school where you like got all the instruments for.
Oh yes,
Who were you talking to about that?
Oh, I can't think of that off the top of my head, but yes, he supplied a.
He basically heard a high school was like down and out. I was like, "Don't worry, I got you."
It was an inner city school, and he paid for it all anonymously, and
pretty hard to be anonymous and have that kind of a donation in this town.
Yeah, I mean, at that time, you kind of, especially if it was a music program, you had a good idea where it was coming from.
Yeah.
But so he's just always kind of been a part of our town, and I guess a part of our lives growing up. And used to see him at the grocery store, Baker Square.
Just, you saw him at Byerly's.
Byerly's, yep. I saw him at Byerly's.
So tell the story because,
man,
again, this episode's let people know that we're
legit
from the area. And we're not just two random dudes with cameras.
I was probably 2004, 2005, 2006-ish, but between one of those years. Around the time Musicology came out, right around that time, actually. And we had this little grocery store in our town. It was called Byerly's in Lunds, and it was open 24/7 at the time. And it was summertime. And, of course, me and my 13, 14-year-old friends were just, running amok in the summer. Nice weather, just having fun. And we decided to go to Byerly's to get some snacks. And lo and behold, we pass an aisle, and here's like a short man with glasses and a giant fur coat in the middle of a summer night with like 4 to 6 giant bodyguards around him. And then my friend walked up, and he's like, "That's Prince." And I'm like, "What?" Sure enough, it was Prince in there and doing his shopping at like...
It was like... Oh, sorry.
It was like 3 a.m.
I was going to say, was it like 10 o'clock, midnight, what?
Oh, I'm talking 3 a.m. Well,
that's when his creative juices are flowing.
Like,
he needs to get some juice.
Yep. You need to get some vegan smoothies or something, you know? But, I used to see him, Hollywood Video. I had a couple of friends that worked there, and he would call to make sure they stayed open late so he could come in and look by himself, and...
browse without being bothered.
Yes. I guess he liked his movies.
The movie theater too. He'd just rent out the whole. The Chanhassen was not there anymore, but
rest in peace.
We had friends that worked at the cinema, and he would rent out the whole thing to watch whatever movie. He'd leave his purple Prowler in the parking lot, music running, and he wanted a little bit of privacy. He was like a man of the people. Sometimes he'd ride his bike. We'd see him around Lake Ann.
Yes.
I heard stories of people almost hitting them with their car. But
that's funny.
He never left. He liked Chan. In the 80s when he first came out here, though, most of that was cornfields.
Oh yeah, and that's why he built it up there, so it was a little peaceful and secluded.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny when you think about it, and I never really thought about it until now. He tried to be as much of the community in Chanhassen as he could with being who he was.
He tried to be
as normal as he could living in Chanhassen, being as famous as he was.
Yeah.
Riding his bike around. Yeah. You know what I mean? I never really thought about that. He was just trying to fit in and just be a part of the community.
Yeah.
At that time.
Yeah.
As much as he could be, like I said, without getting hounded and stuff like that. But people seem to also kind of respect his space too. I mean, think about it. I mean, Paisley Park's right on the highway. If somebody wanted, they could have hopped the fence. A different person every day for 10 years could have hopped the fence and went and knocked on the door and tried to break in. Some psychotic fan.
Yeah.
But no one ever really did. They just kind of let him be. Let him be.
He probably didn't need security, but
yeah.
Once you got to the level he was, it'd be dumb not to have one person near you. But do you remember in high school when we couldn't even drive. Your dad would go drive us to his house on Galpin.
Yep.
And we'd pull up the security guard.
Bruno.
And we'd be like, "Hey, can Prince come out and play?" And he'd be like, "No, man, Prince is on tour in Europe right now or something." All right, we'll come back next week or something.
He was awesome. He would chill and talk with us and stuff like that. And
all the security guards there were ex Minnesota Viking linemen. I feel like
they were huge. Yeah, they weren't no skinny white boys.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He was he lived within a mile of both of us, and for many years.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was just always a part of the community in town, just like we were. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we're trying to find someone who was like, who knocked on his door for Jehovah's Witness.
Yes, we want to find someone in which did Prince knock on your door? Did he try spreading his word?
Because he do that around like the Audubon 5 area.
Yeah,
like, I just, like all those little neighborhoods around there.
Yeah,
I could see him like going up and just be like, "Hi, can I talk to you?"
He would do his like dues to the religion. I think that's kind of what it is, right? Like,
yeah.
Giving back, but yeah, I don't know. We're just a couple Chanhassen dudes and trying to preserve the memory and legacy and the stories of Prince. Really, Chanhassen, baby.
Shout out to Adam making this hat for me.
Yep, Mr. Stanzak, Adam, Drastic, Venice Beach, baby. So yeah, the Prince love goes deep. It goes across America. I mean,
yeah, for all you fans out there who are hounding us on the internet, we're legit. We're born and raised here. We know Prince. Aaron's got 2 Prince tattoos. He's a huge fan.
Yep. Test me.
Just because we made T-shirts doesn't mean we're posers.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's not my basketball hoop right there. I mean.
You think about that. I mean, his DNA is on that thing.
Yeah.
Prince is in this room.
Exactly. Charlie Murphy's DNA might be on that too. Charlie Murphy. Shirts against the blouses.
Dave Chappelle.
Shirts against the blouses. That's the actual hoop right there. Any forensic pathologists out there want to test it? You might find some purple DNA on there. Wouldn't doubt it.
For those, and hopefully cuts to the wide shot on this, but if not, we'll just show it. But yeah, I mean, these are the newspapers from when Prince died. I happened to fly back to L.A. the day before he died, but like my mom lives across the street, like direct, like she's at
a day before
Audubon and 5. Yeah,
I bet you wish you missed your flight.
I wish that I had.
There was nowhere else in the world you would have rather been back home in Chan.
Yeah, but here's the thing, that like what I'm getting at almost starts this whole podcast thing, because I remember like my thought was like, I wish I was there. I would have taken a camera and just started interviewing all the people about their stories of Prince in the area. Mm-hmm. And because I mean everyone has one. Like yep. It's a small town. People would like see him all sorts of places, or someone knows someone that knew him or worked with him or something. And so when that happened, I was just like, God, I wish I was still in Chan and I had a camera and I would just start documenting people to get their stories.
I actually have a story about that day. When he passed away, I was at work and I got off early. And I was actually driving home, and I got a text, and it was like, "Oh, someone was found dead at Paisley Park or something." And then within my drive home, we found out it was Prince. It was weird. I got off early that day, and I never did usually. Huh. And I went there, and yeah, there was every news, Telemundo. It was crazy. Everything. And speaking of your interview, I just remembered Dave Ryan from KDWB. He lived nearby there, and he was live casting, and me and Justin got interviewed live on his stream.
Well, on like Facebook or something at the time?
Yeah, at Paisley Park.
I wonder if that's archived somewhere.
Dave might still have it on his Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why he wouldn't, but yeah, so yeah, it was a pretty sad time, but I can't believe it's already been 9 years.
I went back. I was rocking some purple skate shoes at the time, so I hung those on the fence.
Oh, yeah.
It's cool how I call it a museum now, but the studio, Paisley Park studio, they'll like pull out art and stuff that fans left and put on display every now and then.
They preserved it.
Yeah, they preserve it. It's like in a giant storage and stuff.
Yeah, they have like a false, like a fake gate, like chain link fence like that inside, and they like keep it up there just to like keep it in good shape, and it's pretty cool. And they switch that out every now and then, but that's cool. They keep all that. I mean, that's a lot of work for somebody, because that fence was covered.
You couldn't even
see through it.
See through the fence.
You could not see through the purple fence.
Yeah.
My favorite was when about a year later, when the tributes started to kind of thin out on the fence. I drove by one time, and there was this awesome string art on the fence. There's this famous artist from Minneapolis, Twin Cities area. He's like a street artist. He's not a graffiti artist, but he does art with strings. So you drove by and it said Purple Rain on block letters on the fence, and it was in strings though, like tied through it, the shadowing and everything. It was awesome.
That's dope.
Yeah, and I'd see the same guys work like downtown and stuff. But so people made it all the way to Chan to do their little art. But Yeah, it was actually pretty crazy growing up in Chanhassen. When I think about it, like we were pretty lucky. It's a good area.
Like I've been in LA for the last 18 years. Mm-hmm. And, people, when they're like, oh, where are you from? And it's like, oh, I'm from Minnesota. Like, older generations be like, oh, Bob Dylan. And then, like, the youngest generation is like, oh, Atmosphere. But, like,
the hot 50-year-olds, the hot 50-year-old chicks.
Yeah. And then everyone will be like, yo, Prince, man. Like, I love Prince. And it's like, oh, I'm from the town of Prince. You're from the town of Prince? Like, yeah, Prince's house is down the road. My mom lives across the street from Prince. Like, no way. Like, you totally have some, like, awesome stories. Like, yeah, you'd see him around town and stuff. And, it was just like...
Prince was your favorite celebrities.
I think I got more clout that way.
Prince was your favorite celebrity's favorite celebrity.
Exactly, yeah. Before we started the show and we're doing our research about, like, Prince podcast that was out there on Howard, like, a lot of people on Howard Stern, they'd be like, hey, I have a story, and they start telling their Prince story, and it's always like, oh, he was so magical, or just floated across the room, and, like, I feel like they don't tell their whole story because they're cut short, because they're, like, not there to talk about Prince, but, like, maybe we can get him on our show because we're here to talk about Prince, so.
Yeah, I do definitely want to hear a lot of these, like, mystical stories, because I've heard a lot of them where he just shows up.
Yeah.
Or you can smell him before he appears.
Yeah. Like you just sense his presence.
Yes. Yes. But
then he also just disappears.
Yeah.
You think he's still there and his presence just disappears.
It's kind of like an entity,
Totally. Yeah.
But yeah.
Even right now, he's like staring me down right now from that album right there.
I mean, he's turning my co-host and producer on, and that picture was taken in 1982. So that goes to say something.
You are so fast with your Prince facts and history. You're like almost a walking Prince museum. Like as soon as I will mention, hey, we have someone coming on the show, and here's some small detail, you'd be like, oh, that was during this era, and this happened, and this album was released. It's like so quick in your mind. Like you are like a walking encyclopedia of Prince.
Thank you. Yes. See, the thing is he's released so much material that is kind of like the only way I can divide it is by like the years that I relate to that in that era. You know what I mean? Because a lot of bands, a lot of artists and bands, they'll release an album, they'll promote it, and they'll tour that same album for sometimes 2 or 3 years. Well, in that time, Prince has recorded 10 albums.
Yeah.
So the years, to me, they really click with the era. And he also kind of he never wanted to, each album he came out with, he wanted something different. He never wanted to rely on the old sound, like, oh, I made that's done, it's over, right, on to the next thing, like a true artist, and he also never wanted to be influenced by his old sound either. I'm trying to remember a story that I knew where he would record multiple albums at once, obviously, but he would do so in a way where if one of the albums he released was successful, he didn't want the next album he recorded after that to be influenced by that sound. So he would record a bunch of albums at once, release that album. Oh, it did well. I'm still going to drop the one I recorded after it because I know that it's not going to be influenced by that because I didn't know how popular that album was going to be or not.
Yeah. I mean, like any artist, sometimes you just have to beg, borrow, and steal to make your next piece of art.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're proud of it for a minute. Sometimes you're proud of it for a year.
Yep.
But either way, you have to get that off your soul and like just make it creatively and move forward, even if it is bad. You just have to, and that's probably what he's trying to do. Is trying to get like
just get it out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, to use this metaphor, like you have a bed sheet hanging up on a clothesline.
Yep.
Well, it's just going to droop in the middle.
Exactly.
So you got to add a clothesline every
to support
8 inches to support it. But it's like, imagine every clothesline's an album release, and every dip is the unreleased albums, and he just tries to fill that up so that the next one holds that much stronger.
Exactly.
As a thing,
Exactly. Like, I don't think we'll ever really know how many albums he truly recorded.
Yeah, who knows what that vault has,
I wish I could actually see his actual process and watch him,
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot more in that vault, and there's a lot more recorded than will ever be released and we'll ever know about, unfortunately. Yeah. But here's my thing: if it wasn't good enough for him to release or want anybody to hear it, I don't know if I want to hear it.
Yeah, Because otherwise, you'd be like, oh, this sounds like
This one doesn't-
3121.
or
It's
no,
like,
this
well,
one-
yeah, he recorded right before 3121, but he released 3121.
Or this one doesn't sound as polished or as fresh or as good. Maybe it was a demo.
Yeah.
And people are going to judge him based on that demo. Well, guess
Yeah.
what? He didn't want to release that. He never did. He probably had it in there just as a reference to go back to work on it again. I don't know. But
I feel like we should touch on, I'm looking at the picture right over your shoulder, the Arboretum.
Oh, yeah. The Insatiable. Is that one the black lace? Oh, yeah, the black lace.
Yeah.
Classic photo. That was actually...
Talking to the mic.
Classic photo. That was actually shot on the same day as the print shot behind Tony underneath the lit up symbol.
Which one? Oh, is that in a studio?
No, that's the well, it's the same photo shoot. I don't know if that's outside, but he's got the same cufflinks and the same shirt, and he does not wear the same thing twice. So, and I think that's an insert from that album, so it would make sense.
Oh yeah, probably. So
was that Herb Ritz?
probably Herb Ritz, the photographer.
Is
I think
that
it
the
was.
one from
yeah,
that?
there's
Okay.
Herb Ritz. And there's that other.
Because
photographer.
yeah, he did the photo shoot at the Arboretum in Chanhassen, which is like an outdoor nature preserve. He did that one, I think, in '92, and then the one in like '99.
Yeah. But the nature preserve is still there.
It's still there.
I'm a member. Like I go with my family every now and then. It's like fun to go in the summer, the winter, the fall.
They recently changed the name to the Arb, but it was originally called the Arboretum, hence the Prince song Arboretum.
That's just for the teeny boppers who can't pronounce Arboretum anymore.
Yep. And
All
you
the
know,
TikTokers, it's not fast enough.
and see, this is kind of a deep cut. I don't know if you knew this, but Prince has a song called Arboretum.
No. Aaron's a much bigger Prince fan than me. I will admit that I am a Prince fan, but yeah, see, this is where you're going deeper.
I'm into a lot of the deep cuts and a lot of the rare stuff like that. So, know quite a bit about him. Not saying if I know more about somebody else that they don't know a lot about it. I'm just saying I know quite a bit about it. But
well, even like we've had some people on the show,
and I'm always learning. And I'm always learning is the thing. I'm always reading stuff, especially with these like Facebook shorts and just little things. It's hard to like not find something out.
I won't say who, but we've had a guest on the show who I feel like they were trying to kind of test you, coming from a younger generation than them. They're almost trying to test you of like, okay, how much does he know? Like where can
and this is someone that worked directly with Prince.
Yes. And then I think like Aaron definitely earned his respect by like, oh shit, he's knowledgeable.
Yeah, we're bouncing back and forth, and that was an awesome episode. And I know you guys are really like and enjoy that episode.
It was Michael Holtz. Michael Holtz worked with you, and I could just kind of tell he was kind of like, who are these guys? Let me size them up, see if they're Prince worthy.
Yep.
And
then he remembered me doing the splits at the Black Album party, and he knew I was the real deal, baby.
Yeah. When you give Aaron enough beers, he'll do the splits.
Yes.
And if you're playing Prince.
And considering, before 2016, there was never any alcohol ever allowed inside Paisley Park. So that was a whole new experience.
Yeah, that's a sad thing. I mean, we went to that album release party, and I remember seeing, I was like, oh, they sell beer and wine now. Like, Prince wouldn't want this.
Yeah.
And then going to the Minneapolis airport, and there's that store there that's all Prince stuff. It's like, they sell, what is that, Canadian Goose?
Oh, he's
jacket.
rolling. He's rolling. He's happy that Paisley is a museum, I'm sure, but he's rolling in his grave on how it's going about. They're going about it, I think.
Yeah.
And everything else, and the Paisley Park Estates, and just all the merch, and just everything.
But we like to think he would love our show.
Oh yeah,
he likes small local artists and up and coming.
Yes, we'd like to think if he was still alive and around that he would
bless us,
give us his blessing. So we try to do it in a way that we think that he would respect it.
Yeah.
So, that's a little bit about us. But
another thing we should probably touch on, because we'll never be able to have them on as a guest, our good friend Max.
Max Bailey, one of best friends growing up, still is. But he passed away a couple years back. And he was also a big influence in my Prince love, as he also loved Prince, grew up in chant with us, and I played instruments and in bands with him. And his dad, Mike Bailey, shout out the back doc. He was also a musician back in the 80s, and he's still a musician, but he used to play shows and occasionally see Prince out and about back in the day. But
he would have a really good story, because Max used to work at the Country Inn and Suites, which is no longer there. They just tore it down, which is the but he had the night shift, like midnight to 8 a.m.
Yes.
And Prince owned, I don't want to say owned, but he had like a permanent reservation at the hotel where musicians were coming to town, and he would put them up there.
I got 3 stories that have to do with that.
Yeah. Okay. So in honor of Max, I think we should tell them to help.
Actually, just 2 stories for that one mainly. But once, my buddy Max worked the overnight shift, and this was in downtown Chanhassen. It's probably about a mile from Paisley Park. And as Tony was saying, they would, I don't know if you call it a Prince suite, but he's had a suite or a room there since the 80s, pretty much. And whenever he would have guests in town or anybody working with him, he would put them up there. You'd call all hours of the night because you just have to be ready when Prince called, because that's when Prince was feeling it, and you just go. And so this was like 3 a.m. on a summer night, and Prince called, and my friend answered the phone. I don't know why Prince. Oh yeah, Prince never owned a cell phone, so this is why Prince called the hotel. So he called the hotel, and he has to be transferred to the room. So my friend transferred him to the room, and 2 minutes later, Prince called back, and he's like, "I think you hung up on me." And my friend apologized and transferred him over, and that was the end of that. But that was kind of the inside joke. Like, dude, you hung up on Prince?
But Prince called, he's probably like, "Hey, transfer me to room 4.
But just imagine, like, in that voice, I think you hung up on me.
He's like, okay, who's calling at 3 a.m. to do this?
Exactly. But that's just.
But he'll tell us how, like, he's like, yeah, Prince showed up last night. It was 4 a.m.
Yep.
In his Prowler, dropping off a musician.
Yep.
And then he'd chat with those musicians.
He would. And then one of the times, this was around the time 2006 or 7 when he was working with Tamar, and that was actually the one who was staying there at the time. That was Prince's kind of protege he was working with at the time. And I think they might have been dating. And so that's the one Max was talking to now and then, Tamar, when she would come in and go. One night when Max was working there, Prince showed up in his Bentley, his 2-door Bentley. All right, which, I mean, that's already cool enough, right?
You can see that Bentley on display. They keep it in the
you can
museum.
See it.
And,
custom wheels with the Prince symbol on the wheels. It's
also, it's one of those paint jobs where, like, you look at it from one way, it's a color, and you look at it from another angle, it's a different color.
It's not a ghetto paint job either. You can tell that. You can, yeah. This is like some Santa Monica shit, I would say, right? Yeah. And then so, Prince pulled up in that 2-door Bentley, and a girl got out of the passenger door and walked around and opened his door so he could get out.
That's badass.
That is badass right there. And the thing was, Prince probably didn't even have to ask or tell her to.
Speaking of cars and paintings.
Yes.
Because I know my uncle is not going to want to come on the show. I'm going to tell his story. Mm-hmm. My uncle owned the body shop in Chanhassen, Master Collision.
Oh, yeah.
Did I tell you the story?
No.
So I had lunch with my uncle a couple weeks ago. And he's like, oh, what have you been doing? What have you been working on? I tell him about, we started this thing called Purple Memoirs. It's really awesome. And he was like, oh, you know what? Prince had us paint his Prowler? And I was like, whoa, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, we got a call one time from Paisley Park, and Prince wanted us to paint his Prowler this special purple. And he's a body shop. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And it's the local body shop in Chandler. I don't think there's another. There might be another body shop now because this is decades later. But
this is probably around 2000.
I think it might be earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think he bought the body shop like 95 or 96.
Okay, give or take around that time.
Yeah. Now. But yeah, anyway, so someone called him and was like, hey, can you paint this car a certain color purple? He's like, absolutely. This is what we do all the time. Just let us know the color. So they bring in the Prowler. My uncle told me that one of his security guards brought it in, mm-hmm. and which makes sense. I don't think Prince would drop his car off to do that.
Yeah, no.
And they give him like, hey, this is the color purple that we want and stuff. They do the job like a week later, return the car. Prince loves it. He loves it so much. He goes, hey, can you paint one of my pianos the exact same color purple so I have a matching piano? And they're like, yeah, I guess we can. So he brought a piano to my uncle's body shop, and they painted so he had a matching piano to match his car. And my uncle's 77.
You never say no to Prince.
He doesn't want to come on a podcast because you can use the story and like tell it and stuff. I'm like, that's a really awesome story. That like just another example too of like Prince staying within the community.
Oh yeah,
he could have gone to West Coast Customs,
sent it off to L.A.
Yeah, sent out anybody who is a major car brand designer or something. But he was like, oh,
Master Collision's
There's a body shop up the
Master
road.
Collision's good enough for the people of Chan. It's a good enough for me.
Exactly.
That's I love it. Oh man, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he was kind of our neighbor, but he was also Prince.
He was our neighbor. He was a great neighbor.
You know, he was the best neighbor.
Remembering a good neighbor.
Remembering a great neighbor. Yep.
Yeah.
And to this day, I mean, and honestly, nobody would even know what or where Chanhassen was if it wasn't for Prince.
Yeah. I'm looking at, there's that photo in the bottom right. That's actually the Chaska newspaper, which is the neighboring town.
Yep.
That one's a Chanhassen.
Still in Carver County, about 5 minutes away from Chanhassen. But
Right, but like you see that little purple square on there surrounded by 2 blue lakes.
Yep.
That was all his property.
Yeah.
You know, and I was at Paisley Park doing the tour one time, and they were trying to make it sound like that wasn't his property where his house was. And I was like, man, they're trying to like spin the narrative of like
he only lived at Paisley and everything.
Only lived at Paisley,
no,
this
no.
was his house. Blah, blah, blah.
I
because
knew
now all that's just neighborhoods. That's just like $1 million homes on like 0.1 acre, which sucks because they're so close together.
Yes.
He wouldn't like it. It's like Paisley Drive and stuff. But.
The crazy thing about it was when he died in 2016, I knew of him having 3 houses, including Paisley Park. He had Paisley Park. He had a house about a mile away on Galpin, and then he had a house
Across the street.
No.
Long Acres?
Well, I'll get to that.
Yeah.
And so the one at, on Galpin, and then he had one on Lake Riley. And the Lake Riley house is actually pretty special because that's actually where he recorded the, I might be having a brain fart, the whole 1999 album in that house.
Really?
Yes. Some people bought it recently and leveled it, but they kept his front gate that has the peace symbol and a heart on it on Lake Riley. And you drive up to it and see it.
No way.
But after he died, there was all sorts of other properties in Chan that find out he owned that I had no idea about. He owned a house in Long Acres.
Which is the neighborhood like right across the street of Galpin.
Yep.
From his main estate.
Yep. He owned a house in the small old school neighborhood right past McDonald's in Chan.
Oh, is that like Great Plains Boulevard or something over there?
No. So you know where McDonald's is, and you can take left to go to McDonald's, or you can just go straight into this neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's back there, just like an old 60s Rambler he owned.
Oh, those are like startup homes.
Yes.
Like it's like not huge mansions either. It's
Yep.
just more like,
And then
who lived there? Do you know?
I'm not really sure.
from-
I think his dad might have lived there at one time.
Okay, this is stuff that comes out of the woodwork after
Yes.
he dies, and it's like
Yes.
the
And then
estates find out where stuff is.
And then on Highway 5 and Dell Road, there's these like storage complexes right there on the right.
Yeah, my dentist is over there.
He owned a shit ton of space in there that he just used just for storage.
Like, what kind of stuff did he store?
I don't know. I just heard it was like overflow from Paisley Park.
Wow. And Paisley has a lot of room.
Yes.
A whole underground system.
Yes. So like I said, I don't know what he stored in there, but it's just weird. That's why he was and always will be the largest property owner in Carver County, baby.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, but that's Prince as we know him, right?
Yeah. Well, that might be a good place to wrap things up.
Until next time.
Well, everyone, thanks for watching. We're going to be releasing every week now. Every Tuesday, I think, is probably going to be our day. We're looking forward to it. We're excited to read your comments, get your feedback. We'll probably, this is the thing where, we're new to this, but we're going to slowly evolve and make things better as they go. And, if you know anybody that has a good story, reach out to us.
What email can they reach out to us at?
Purple Memoirs show@gmail.com.
Okay.
Or slide into our DMs on Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, one more thing. Whatever you do, don't forget to like and subscribe.